For last night's game, all the headlines were about Kurt Zouma, and they still are, despite Man United only drawing at Turf Moor. Despite Newcastle with a fantastic victory and a really good goal by Kieran Trippier, all the headlines remain about Kurt Zouma. But despite all that, I was actually left purring by the performance of Jarrod Bowen, and it wasn't even his best performance so far this season. I've seen him play better. I will see him play better between now and the end of the season, but what a performance by Jarrod Bowen last night. Once again, the difference between West Ham picking up 1 point and 3 points. He's becoming our most important player, possibly already is in a lot of people's minds. It's obviously him or Declan, isn't it? Who's the first name on the team sheet? I think you could make a strong case for Jarrod Bowen. Not that it really matters. I don't know why I'm comparing the two. I'm not really. I think I'm just trying to demonstrate how important Jarrod Bowen is to West Ham right now and what a season he's having. 7 goals and 7 assists for him so far in the Premier League. 11 goals and 8 assists overall for the season. Tremendous season. Or by far our most improved player. And last night, once again, like I said, I think he's played better. But the big difference for West Ham. Now, last night, what impressed me was actually the way David Moyes managed Jarrod Bowen. I thought he struggled a little bit in the first half. I thought Roy Hodgson's tactics were bang on. Played 4 centre midfielders, compact in the middle of the pitch, and it makes it difficult. It makes it difficult for your wide players to then be able to cut in. We've obviously got Jarrod left footed on the right, and on the other side of the pitch we had Said Benrahma or Pablo Fornals. They altered now and again, but predominantly it was Said Benrahma right footed on the left. Ideally, both players want to cut in, and when they do that, Soufal and Creswell can then get forward and use the space left behind by West Ham wingers. But I felt in the first 45 in particular, both Benrahma and Bowen struggled to get involved. Now, saying that, the difference between the two of them, the difference between, I guess, the ability of the two of them is Jarrod Bowen made stuff happen. You know, he had that little header down to Souček who couldn't quite cut it back to him. It was Jarrod Bowen that played that lovely through ball to Said Benrahma. Really good save by Foster, and then he hit the post. But after he played that past Jarrod Bowen, he doesn't just stand there and almost admire the work he's done. He's immediately on the move. He's immediately getting into that 6-yarder in case there is a rebound, in case there's a spillage or something. And he's there. You know, we know, obviously, Benrahma had that second shot hit the post, and the more you watch it back, the more frustrated you get, because Jarrod Bowen's there in the middle of the 6-yarder. Benrahma squares it. If he notices where Jarrod is, he's tapping it into the back of the net. But that was as good as I got for Jarrod Bowen in the first half. It was a relatively quiet one. I thought defensively, I'll be honest with you, I thought defensively it was a little bit suspect. I thought Kamara was getting forward really well for Watford, causing us all sorts of bother down our right hand side, and that is Jarrod Bowen's immediate opponent. But the second half, much better from Jarrod Bowen. Obviously went on to get this decisive goal in that half. Came close to making it 2-0 West Ham, getting his second. Just a world-class save from Ben Foster denied him. But I actually put down to a small tactical tweak by David Moyes at half-time. Now since the game, I've gone on to have a look at the numbers behind it, and I've grabbed a couple of images which back up my claim. You may not agree with me, that's fine, but I found images that do agree with me. I'll get them up on the screen in just a minute, because I've got 2 things first of all. One, thanks to everybody that subscribed to the channel. We hit 22,000 subs last night, so that's a nice morale boost. You're watching this and you haven't subscribed already, please do. It's completely free. Under the video, just click subscribe. You've joined the Hammers Chat party. Simple as that. Now the second thing, this video is sponsored by Manscaped. Now gentlemen, on Monday it's Valentine's Day. Now you're not all into that, that's fine, but those of you that are, you've got a date, you've done the hard bit. Congratulations, you've done the hard grab. You put the miles in, you've got a date secured on Monday evening. Now let us at Hammers Chat help you do the easy bit, and that's getting yourself ready for the date. You don't want to let yourself down, you don't want to let her down, you've done the hard yards. Now it's time for us to help you. Go over to manscaped.com, have a look around the website, anything that you can find that you think actually could do with a little bit of that. Pop it in your basket. When it gets to the checkout, it says, "Oh, you got a code?" You said, "Yes, I do." It's Hammers Chat. No spaces, just Hammers Chat, one big long word. That'll take 20% off absolutely everything in your basket and give you free shipping. You can use that 20% you've just saved towards the date on Monday. Happy days. But like I said, you've done the hard bit. Now, back in the days, my manager said to me, if you walk like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's probably a duck. So remember that, because on Monday she'll be looking at you, she'll be judging you, she'll be thinking, looks like he knows what he's doing, smells like he knows what he's doing. He's probably going to know what he's doing. Now, we can't help you with that. Well, we could, but we won't. That's down to you. But if you get lucky on Monday evening, you want to be prepared for it. And using the Manscaped grooming kit is the best way to get prepared. Get ready. So if you get lucky, you don't disappoint. Simple as that. If she's a football fan, especially a West Ham fan, if she's a West Ham fan, you know she knows about Bobby Moore. If she knows about Bobby Moore, you know she loves a good tackle. So make sure your tackle is in the right order to impress on Monday evening. Anyway, enough with all that. Let's get back to talking about Jarrod Bowen, shall we? Yes, please, said you, and yes, please, said I. I thought that went quite well, though, to be fair. Anyway, links in the description for Manscaped. Use the code HammersChat. Now, back to Jarrod Bowen. Like I said, I thought there was a small change at half-time. I thought Hodgson got his tactics spot on. 4 centre midfielders, kept them quite tight, no space out wide, so what we're going to do. And I think this is where we see that David Moyes considers Jarrod Bowen to be one of his most important players as well. And I felt that he moved him 10-15 yards infield in the second half, away from Kamara, in behind the Watford midfield, in front of the Watford defence, in that pocket of space. It's hard to mark, it's a hassle to mark, but as an attacker, if you can get the ball in there, you're laughing. You turn around, you're facing the defence, you're running at the defence as well. Now, like I said, I went and picked up a couple of images to sort of back this up a little bit. So this is Jarrod Bowen in the first half. There you go. You can have a look at what he's got, and that's all his touches for what it's worth. That's Jarrod Bowen's touches in the first half. Now, he had 30. In the second half, he had 31. So it's a very, very good way of comparing. It's not like he was rubbish in one half and then completely excellent in the second. He had the same amount of touches bar one in both halves. So there you go. Predominantly down the right hand side. A couple of corners taken as well. That's why it's right in the corner. Obviously West Ham are shooting in that direction, so right hand side of the pitch and stuff. So there you go. Jarrod Bowen's touches in the first half. Now I'm going to get rid of that in a second. This is Jarrod Bowen in the second half. There you go. Much more spread open, away from that touchline, predominantly down the right hand side, of course, because obviously he's got his defensive duties to do as well, and then when we're in possession he'll drift out there. So I'm not saying he played attacking midfielder or that, just infield a hell of a lot more. Now that 2 lines is his shots. So in the first half, 0 shots from Jarrod Bowen. Good chance created for Ben Rama though, but 0 shots. Second half, 2 shots, 1 goal, 31 touches. Happy days. In the dribbles as well. First half, no dribbles done by Jarrod Bowen. Second half, 2. Much better performance from him there as well. And I just thought, last night when the game finished, I just thought, thank God we've got Jarrod, because I'm looking forward to seeing him in the next game. And like I said, I actually think he's become our most important player. When we did the player ratings earlier, someone said, is he Ham of the Year, do you think? Because, well, actually, if I had to vote for him, we had to vote for Ham of the Year right now. It's either between him or Declan, isn't it? I think some will go Declan and some will go Jarrod, but I think he'd hold his own. I think every game that goes by now at the minute, he almost decreases the gap between him and Rice, and he's becoming the most important one, in my opinion. Now, one thing they've got in common is people being worried they're leaving, and I've always been a bit more worried about Jarrod Bowen leaving than Declan Rice. Now, when I say that, I don't mean I'm sitting here trembling with fear that Jarrod Bowen may leave. I'm not worried about him going. Just said I have. Let me try and explain. I'm not worried. Let me get this done right. I'm not worried about either going. I've never been against selling players. It doesn't really worry me, to be honest with you. It's about what you then do once that player has gone. So I'm not bothered about it. I'd rather they stayed. I hope they stay, so on and so forth. But anyway, the reason I'm more worried about Jarrod Bowen than Declan Rice is because I think there's only 2 or 3 clubs out there for Declan. I think you're looking at Man City, Chelsea, and maybe Man United. At the minute, they're a bit of a shambles, but they're still a big club. And we heard what Declan said about Old Trafford. A bit flirtatious, maybe. I think he could maybe be lured there, but I think if Man United were to go in for him, I think we might see Chelsea react to it and go in for him as well. But that's the 3 clubs. I don't see anyone else going in. I don't think Liverpool can afford him. I just don't. Tottenham, no chance. Arsenal, I don't think has got the appeal for Declan. And we're talking about Man United, one of the biggest clubs in world football, perhaps not being appealing enough for Declan Rice. So I think the suitors for Declan in terms of what he wants to go on and achieve in football, don't think there's that many. And then it comes down to who can afford him. Again, there's not that many. So there's only a handful of clubs that can really come in for him. But Jarrod Bowen, I feel it's a little bit different. I feel that his price probably isn't as much as Declan, so more clubs can afford him. And I just think, I use Arsenal as an example. If we were this obviously hinges on West Ham not qualifying for European football, perhaps qualifying for the Europa Conference League, which I'll be happy with next season. I don't mind saying it now. We're 4th as I do this video. I don't mind the Europa Conference League next season at all. It really doesn't bother me. I think if anything, it would be a good opportunity long term for some of the younger players at the club, because it's a lesser competition in the Europa League. I think it would benefit us. But if a Champions League club was to come in, not one challenging for the title, but a Champions League club, so if Arsenal was to finish 4th and they were to come in for Jarrod Bowen, I think that's when it gets a bit more difficult actually, because at the minute he is one of the best players in the Premier League. If you're watching this, you're not a West Ham fan, I don't care. Jarrod Bowen is one of the best players in the Premier League right now in terms of form. He's 2 goal contributions, a goal contribution being either scoring or setting it up, either goal or assist. At the minute he's got 14 in the Premier League. He's 2 away from equaling Jack Grealish's best season in the Premier League. Now, I'm not comparing him to Jack Grealish in terms of ability. They're completely different types of players. But what I'm saying is Jack Grealish is lauded as one of the most creative players when he was at Aston Villa, and he was one of the most creative players at Aston Villa. But Jarrod Bowen is simply 2 goal contributions away from equaling his best record in the Premier League. What a tremendous season this boy is having. Now, one thing that actually reassures me that we won't lose Jarrod, one thing in particular, his life away from the football pitch. I think he's loved by West Ham fans. I think he knows that. And obviously, at the minute, it looks like from the outside, it looks like things are going well with Danny Dyer. You know, the pictures are coming thick and fast of them 2 together as a happy couple. We've seen Papa Danny now commenting stuff. You know, he commented earlier today saying Bowen's on fire, and whatever he wrote, he didn't quite go the full way, but he certainly alluded to the song, didn't he? You know, and that it looks like a happy family setting from the outside, and that stuff like that can make a huge difference in the players' commitment to the area. You know, we suffered from it with James Tarkowski. He was up in Burnley, didn't want to move south. He was at Brentford, wanted to go north because of family reasons. Fine, but this is where West Ham can actually benefit from it, where it looks like Jarrod Bowen's got a bit of a settled life now with his missus. You know, Danny, daughter, not Papa, daughter Danny, has got, you know, business ties to the area, if you like. She does her podcast with her dad and stuff like that. So she's almost sort of tied into, she can't really move as easy as what Jarrod perhaps could. And I just think he looks like he's loving life at the minute. I'm absolutely loving Jarrod Bowen being on the pitch for West Ham. And last night was just another example of that. And I think when we've got Bowen on the pitch, we've got a chance. I've not seen an influential player in the attacking third for West Ham since Dimitri Payet. Now, I'm not comparing Jarrod Bowen to Dimitri Payet in terms of ability. Payet was the better player. But I'd argue that Bowen's the better sort of team player, if you like. Certainly off the ball, I think Bowen works a hell of a lot harder than I ever saw Demi do. But in terms of his creativity and his goals and his skills, Demi hands down. But in terms of being that influential in the final third, I've not seen one since 2006. Well, we had him for 2016 for a bit. So January 2017 we lost Dimitri, right? 5 years later. Now we're was it January 10th? Yeah, it was. Anyway, 5 years later now, we finally got an attacker in the midfield area that I feel is that influential for West Ham. And I felt in the second half yesterday against Watford, we almost built our attack around Jarrod Bowen. I have got no issues with that. When you're as good as Jarrod Bowen is right now, I have no problem with it. Sometimes, going back to Grealish, people would call Aston Villa a one-man team. When we had Demi, people would call us a one-man team. I don't really care. If you've got a player that good, you should be a one-man team. You should be setting your team up. So Jarrod Bowen goes in and says, right, how do we get the best out of that guy in the final third? Because he's that good, we should be setting up our team around him. We did it with Demi. Villa did it with Jack Grealish, and we should be doing it with Jarrod Bowen. In the second half last night against Watford, I think that's what we did. I felt watching it, that's what we were doing. Getting Bowen into a really good position, and the rest are just going to have to work around him. But you know what? At the end of the day, he was the one that scored the goal. A massive bit of luck, of course there is. Come off the defender and went the wrong way and put Ben Foster down. I don't really care, to be honest with you. He was the one that took the shot. He's the one that gets the goal. Was very unlucky enough to make it 2. World class save from Ben Foster. But what a player Jarrod Bowen is. What a season he's having. Do you know something? I'm looking forward to Sunday's game against Leicester City. A big part of the reason, I'm not just looking forward to watching West Ham on Sunday. I'm looking forward to watching Jarrod Bowen on Sunday, actually. Can't wait. Anyway, I'm going to disappear. If you've enjoyed this video somehow, drop a like on it. Subscribe if you're new around here. Myself and Gonzo, we'll catch you in a bit.